Hello everyone. It's lovely to see you again. I hope you're all okay as we've gone into another lockdown and things are rather difficult again, aren't they? But hopefully you're all okay. Well, at the start of this new year, we're going to be looking at some different people from the Bible, and we're going to be learning from them all about loving God and living in his hands. So here's today's story.
A long, long time ago, Israel had a king called Saul. This is Saul. But Saul wasn't a good king, and God was not pleased with him. One day, Saul did something so bad that God decided he'd had enough. When Saul died, God wanted someone else to be king of Israel. A man called Samuel was God's messenger in those days. This is Samuel. Samuel used to do what God told him and go where God sent him. God told Samuel that he wanted a new king, and he wanted Samuel to go and anoint him. Anoint means to mark him in a special way by pouring some olive oil on his head. Samuel went to a small village called Bethlehem, and when he got there, he went to see a man called Jesse, who had 7 sons. This is Jesse. Jesse had 7 sons. They were tall and handsome. The first was called Eliab. He was tall, handsome, really good looking. Samuel thought, this must be the one. He's so strong and powerful. He'll make an excellent king. But God said to Samuel, no, not this one. I don't look at people the way you do. You're looking at his outside, but I can see his heart. The second son, Abinadab, came up, and he was equally tall and handsome and good looking, but God said, no, not him either. Then the third son came. His name was Shammah. He was tall and good looking too, but God said, no, not him either. Wow. Here comes the fourth son. He was tall and good looking, handsome. Samuel thought this must be the one. But God said, no, not him either. Well, here comes the fifth son. We don't know his name. He was tall and good looking and handsome. But God said, no, not him either. How many more sons are there? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here comes the sixth son. Don't know his name, but he was tall and good looking too. But God said, no, not him. Here comes number 7 son. There he is. He was just as tall and good looking as all the others, but God said, no, not him either. Each son was strong and tall, but God had chosen none of them. Well, Samuel was confused. God had told him to come to Jesse's house to choose one of his sons, and yet God had said no to all 7 of them. He said to Jesse, are these all of your sons? Well, said Jesse, there is the youngest. He's with the sheep in the fields. Shall I send for him? Yes, do, said Samuel. So Jesse sent a messenger, and David came back with him. Here's David. He was a good-looking boy, like his brothers. And God said to Samuel, yes, this is the one. His heart is right because he loves me and he puts me first. Samuel took some oil and he poured it on David's head as a sign that he would be the next king. And then Samuel went home and David went back to his sheep.
Well, Samuel was looking at Jesse's fine, strong sons, and he thought each one of them would make a good king. But God knew what they were like. He looked at their hearts and he said no to each one of them. I wonder what God saw when he looked at David. I think he saw that David loved God and wanted to please him, and that's why God chose him to be king. And I think God looks at each one of us too, and he sees us differently from how other people might see us. He knows our hearts, and he loves each one of us, even when we get things wrong sometimes. So let's say a prayer together. Father God, thank you for Samuel and David and what we can learn about you from them. Thank you for loving us. Help us to love you and do what you want, just as Samuel and David did. Help us to look at people as you see them, not just what's on the outside, but what comes from the heart. Amen. So there's some more on the website. So some ideas of some crafts and other things to do around this story. And we're going to be finding out a bit more about David and his adventures with God over the next few weeks. So I hope you have a good week. Do get in touch with us, particularly if we can help you with anything or you need some help with resources. We'd love to hear from you. And contact details are on the website if you don't know them. Have a good week and we'll see you soon. Bye.